The greatest hero in the world, Superman, is no longer there. Superman was formerly hailed as Earth's guardian, but he is now publicly shamed. He is now being targeted by the government. Humanity fears him as a dangerous alien rather than a savior, and the U.S. Army has captured him. Behind this startling collapse, however, lies a sinister plot by his worst adversary, Lex Luthor. He faced up against the Hammer of Bravia, a formidable warrior, 3 hours ago. Superman was defeated in that combat 3 minutes prior. In the icy wastelands of Antarctica, lies are told. He breathed in short, raspy breaths. The snow is dripping with blood. Superman, barely awake, softly blows a whistle through the furious snowstorm. A shape appears. It's Krypto. His devoted superdog, unaware of the severity of his master's pain, leaps forward with naive delight. With its tail wagging, the devoted beast jumps onto him, providing warmth and devotion. The shimmering splendor of the Fortress of Solitude, rising like a crystalline cathedral, is revealed as the ice ground rumbles and splits. The distinctive S-shield is carved on its enormous doors. Superman is aided by his robots in a matter of seconds. His unadulterated humanity stands in stark contrast to their impersonality and mechanical accuracy. They remind him icily that thanks are pointless when he expresses gratitude to them. They just have obligation. They lack consciousness. It hurts to be reminded. As Krypton's last son, he remains completely alone. The robots play a holographic recording of his biological parents, Jor-El and Lara, to calm him and hasten his recuperation. They describe their desperate choice to send him away from Krypton, a dying world, and talk about the love that surpasses death in the flickering message, putting all of their hopes in him. However, the transmission abruptly stops. The lengthy voyage to Earth was just partially completed. He is examined by the robots. His kidneys, liver, and bladder were severely damaged, and he had 14 shattered bones. An immediate dose of sunlight is his sole chance of survival. They transport him under the golden sun's direct beams, where its energy starts to mend his damaged body. In the meantime, Lex Luthor's strong metahuman Angela Spa searches the Antarctic wastelands for Superman traces. Speaking into the radio, she reports his absence. Even though the hunt is far from finished, Luthor's plots are already underway, and his shadow looms huge. Superman disregards the robot's warnings and gets ready to resume his duties, even though he is only 85% recovered. He will never be able to relax because of his feeling of duty. Lex Luthor, who is committed to overthrowing the Man of Steel, moves forward with his own preparations at the same time. Here, Superman is rendered completely helpless by the deadly blow delivered by the Hammer of Bravia. The attack is incredibly precise, as if his adversary is aware of every move before he does. A civilian named Malikalai, who once ate a simple dinner with Superman, comes to his rescue in his hour of need. However, the civilian is soon found due to Luthor's constant surveillance. Angela, meanwhile, follows Superman to the Fortress of Solitude, where she only gets a quick look before he disappears. Through a system of covert cameras, Luthor observes everything from his office and plans everything from a distance. According to the Hammer of Bravia, this will be Superman's final conflict. But the truth quickly comes to light. The formidable robot Ultraman, disguised to fool the world, is the so-called Hammer. Ultraman has spent decades analyzing Superman's every action, Luthor confesses. Clark Kent is back in Metropolis and goes back to the Daily Planet. He is reminded of his adoptive parents' unwavering affection when they call, but his terse answers betray the strong conflict between his two selves. When Lois Lane shows up, she teases him with her typical light-hearted charm, her humor piercing the prevailing maelstrom of uncertainty. Baravia's president, Vassal, denies any involvement with the enigmatic Hammer on television. Clark considers his numerous interviews with Superman, and broadcasts reveal the public's mounting mistrust of their once-adored hero. Luthor meets with influential business leaders at LexCorp. He introduces Ultraman and a group of metahumans known as Raptors, who are engineered to destroy alien threats. Luthor calls for investment, claiming that Superman is the real threat. The elites, however, are not persuaded, citing Superman's prior valor and widespread appeal. They reject Luthor's call for extreme steps in the absence of evidence. In another scene, Clark and Lois finally make time for a long-awaited date after 3 months apart. As Lois questions him about the growing antagonism he encounters, their talk becomes serious. She queries the Secretary of Defense's inquiry of his conduct in Bavavia. Superman meets with the president of Bavavia and discusses his intervention in Jira, but he withholds specifics. He acknowledges that he used his own discretion to spare innocent lives and entered Baravian airspace without authorization. Superman brushes off the criticism Lois has received on social media due to him, claiming he doesn't have time for such things. He talks candidly about his Kryptonian ancestry, describing how his parents gave up all to bring him into the world and how his world was destroyed. Lois retaliates, indicating that many people believe he has ulterior intentions. He is infuriated by the implication. Their dialogue breaks down. Lois admits that she anticipated a bad outcome. Her relationship issues are coming up again. Distressed and angry, Clark silently departs from her, emphasizing the disconnect between his guardian position for Earth and his Kryptonian heritage. Luthor's group breaks through the Fortress of Solitude in Antarctica, a feat believed to be impossible without Superman's DNA. They demolish his robots and loot the refuge with Angela's assistance. Krypto is repressed and written off as inconsequential. Luthor's actual objective is obvious, to find evidence that would prove Superman's guilt. Hold on, may we speak? Luthor's teammate Otis, meanwhile, shows up in Metropolis with an enigmatic box. Its contents quickly cause chaos. As Otis unleashes the contents of the box, a little creature that quickly transforms into a terrifying giant, Angela laboriously reconstructs the remainder of Superman's destroyed parental letter. Superman intervenes quickly to prevent a dog from being squashed. The Justice League shows up as Lois watches the mayhem on the news. Together, Hawkgirl, Green Lantern, and Mr. Terrific vanquish the Beast. Civilians are protected from the collapsing wreckage by Superman. However, he is met with no cheers. Instead, by portraying him as a threat, the media feeds distrust. At last, Angela brings back the entire Krypton message. The translated content is appalling. As Krypton's final heir, his parents encourage him to govern Earth's people ruthlessly despite their expressions of love and optimism. They also accuse them of being weak-minded. The discovery upends Superman's entire universe. Luthor takes the initiative and states that Superman's actual goal is conquest. Superman encounters taunts and accusations on the street. He discovers the castle devastated, with just one robot left, Phi, dying in his arms after admitting he was unable to defend it. Even worse, Krypton isn't there. Superman, overcome with sorrow, confronts Luthor, who denies knowing the location of the dog. They are unaware that Luthor's girlfriend, Eve, is surreptitiously broadcasting the altercation live. Peacemaker, meanwhile, adds his voice to the throng against Superman. Superman, broken, finds comfort in Lois's apartment. She gives him a basic cup of hot chocolate, after being shocked to hear about Krypto. He admits that the first part of his parents' message was all he ever heard. While traveling to Earth, the second part was tainted. Lois comforts him, but cautions that his tendency to trust could be his biggest flaw. Finally, before he departs, he whispers his love for her, the intensely intimate and painful moment. The next day, Superman gives himself up to Luthor's army, who torture him before taking him to a secret base in the desert. There, Luthor transports him to a jail created by rupturing space known as a pocket universe. Superman and Rex, a shapeshifter whose kid is also imprisoned, are both confined inside. Luthor uses the child as leverage to torture Superman by forcing Rex to turn his body into a weapon. Lois looks into Luthor's activities at the Daily Planet and finds proof that LexCorp has been providing Baravia with low-cost weapons. Jimmy Olsen makes yet another disclosure. Superman finds himself confined within the pocket universe. Even if Hawkgirl and Green Lantern are reluctant to assist, Lois and Mr. Terrify decide to save him together. Superman begs Rex inside the prison, who finally dissolves the kryptonite after learning that Luthor killed Malakali, an innocent bystander. Superman explains that a lack of sunlight is the cause of his frailty. Rex uses his biochemical skills to create a fake sun out of desperation. Superman and Rex work together to release the shapeshifter's son and search for Krypto. In a flood of anti-Rotan, ambushed and pushed to destruction. With Rex's help and his own super breath, Krypto makes a valiant leap to save Superman at the last second. As Mr. Terrific and Lois break into the Pocket Universe to get Superman, he flees. Back on Earth, Eve deftly conceals important information from Jimmy in pointless photos. This information reveals Luthor's conspiracy to become king and his cooperation with Baravia. Superman regains his sense of purpose in the meantime, supported by Jonathan Kent's insight that a man is defined by his decisions rather than his ancestry. Superman engages Ultraman in a vicious duel when war breaks out in Baravia. The real origin of Ultraman, a defective clone created from a single strand of Superman's hair recovered from combat debris, is revealed during their conflict. The clone lacks discipline while being physically superior. Superman beats him with cunning and will, sending his warped reflection into a black hole. Mr. Tariff arrives next to him. They dash to Luthor Corp together, where the Pfizer is threatening to destroy the planet. Terrific deciphers the code with dexterity and genius, bringing stability to reality itself. Superman stands tall and speaks to all of humanity, not just one guy. He asserts that he is just as human as everyone else on the planet, that he understands love and fear, and that he awakens each morning not as a deity, but rather as a man who chooses to go on despite his faults. His statements are not boastful. They serve as an admission and a reminder that humanity is strength rather than weakness. He also gives Luthor one final hope that he would eventually come to terms with it. Luthor, however, spits on optimism. He almost believes that he has already received approval from governments to murder Superman. Luthor is then forced onto the soil as Krypto charges, ferociously hitting him with each blow. The world looks on in awe as the underappreciated Krypton Hound emerges as a stand-alone hero. Then Lois discovers him in the silent aftermath. Superman, the man, not the warrior, now. She acts as though it's for a professional interview. However, she gives him a kiss as the world disappears. Later, amid the enormous silence of the Castle of Solitude, Superman moves through corridors that are brimming with life. The sanctuary has been restored by the robots, who have also shown their commitment and loyalty in a quiet chant. Finally, he feels at peace. Supergirl then emerges from the sky, dazzling, ferocious, and unruly. Krypto shows that she is his real master by leaping to her side and wagging his tail. She chuckles and admits that she likes far-off worlds with red suns where Kryptonians can experience the joys of mortal existence and lose their invulnerability. He loves her even more because she is youthful, free, and alive in ways Superman can never be. And the movie ends here. To ensure you never miss any updates on new videos, kindly click the bell icon and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.